Hey guys, it's Captain Jeff here from Bad Motor Lure Company. I do a series of videos here that I'm going to attach to our YouTube channel, Bad Motor Lure Company YouTube channel, and talk about some of the things that I've learned over the years of fishing on Lake Erie, with the hopes that maybe some of the stuff will, help some people catch some fish, or maybe have a better experience, on Lake Erie. There's a lot of fish in Lake Erie, and Lake Erie is unparalleled in terms of, walleye fishing. It is truly incredible, and we're blessed to have this lake so close to us. But, it can be tough. I've seen this lake, especially after strong winds, when it gets really muddied up. And, I've seen a lot of great fishermen come in and, not have a fish in a basket. So even though there's a lot of fish, and it is the walleye mecca, if you will, it can be tough. And more frustrating than anything, I think, is when you only get a day or two off, and you get a chance to go to the lake, and you look at the weather report, and the weather report's just not going to cooperate for you, which over 30 plus years, I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. If that's the only time you get to go, and you're not going to be able to go for a couple weeks, and and you're Jones and you want to go, you're going to go. And sometimes you got to make the best of a bad situation. So like the old saying says, a bad day's fishing is better than a good day at work. And I would second that. But anyways, so this little video that I'm doing was inspired really by the weather and the events that unfolded this Easter weekend on Lake Erie. As you know, we've had a lot of north winds. The lake's been pretty turned up. People are catching. That's the great thing about Lake Erie. If you can get out there, there's always some catchable fish. If you can find the white rod of clarity with the right fish in it, and get safely out to those spots and fish those spots, you can catch fish, and people do catch fish. But like I said, there are days that it's a lot tougher than others. But anyway, so it was pretty muddy. There was some clearer water up around the islands for sure. Some fish being taken up there, as well as some other spots. But anyway, so we've been having north winds. Well, a lot of times in early April, we'll start to get these south winds, these southwest winds, as we start to move into the spring season. And we'll get them gusting winds, 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. And what it will do is it'll take all that mud that's settled down into the bowl there in that western basin area. And when the winds move to the south, it'll start to push that mud, blow that mud back north. And a lot of those spots where maybe you were catching fish previously, up around A, B, C can, or maybe, northeast of the reefs, or even out by the islands, that mud will start to roll out in those spots and dirty those spots. So again, the key is with it, especially in this time of year, is, finding that right water clarity, where, there's a little bit of mud and there's fish in it, but it's not rolling silt where, you can't even see your bait once it hits the water. That's a big shutdown. But anyways, so the south winds came in, and it kicked, and it blew those, started blowing the mud out. Now, furthermore, as that wind starts to blow out there, it's harder to get offshore. You're not going to be able to access, going out, say, North Bass, and then having to come back in, and 40, 50 mile an hour winds coming off the south. It's just not going to make for a fun ride in, probably not a fun fishing experience. It's going to be surfing more than fishing. So one of the things I've done over the years is figure out a way I can still get out in those conditions and still be able to fish. And one of those ways is tuck in close to shore. Now, the good thing about April is there's so many fish concentrated in that western basin area, particularly around that reef complex. There's fish all over the place. So what I typically end up doing, and I got a map here, I'm going to show it to you, is I'll end up tuck and tail, so to speak, and I'll put in a catawba, say, for example, and I'll literally run the shoreline down into this bowl area. So let me try to pull this map up and see if I can... Okay, guys, so, I flipped it over to a map here. This is your typical topo map of the western basin of Lake Erie. You can see when I was talking about the bowl here, this is the bowl. This would be Catawba Island here. There's a launch right here, Catawba Island State Park, of course. And then as you scroll down here, you're moving down to the town of Port Clinton. There's a beach down here, Portage River, and everything else. So, you can see this here. This is your typical reef complex that is so famous on Lake Erie. You can see the cans here from C to D, E, F down here is a good spot, and you got G and H. All right, so what I was talking about, when those south winds are ripping down here, moving north this way. It'll start to push all that mud that's been, kind of collected and gathered here from all those north winds. It'll start to roll that mud back out. So what I was talking about, you'll find some cleaner pockets of water up here around the islands. Some of that mud may move into those areas where you were once taking fish and, dry those spots up, and they won't be any good. So again, so you're coming out of town, man, you want to get out, and the lake's ripping, you got the strong south winds, you got the big waves offshore. So one of the things that I've done over the years is put in here a catawba and literally run this shoreline, and I'm talking in down tight. Now, a lot of people fish right here off the corner of F-Can. That's a great known spot south of F-Can, particularly here that aligns with the tip of Catawba. That's like a funnel right there where the fish will move through, coming both in and out of the Western Basin. But again, as you start to move out here into this area with these strong southwest winds, that lake's going to start ripping out there a little bit, and the waves are going to kick up some. And again, depending on the strength of the wave or the wind, that will determine the waves. But, if you want a nice, comfortable fishing trip and still have a chance to catch some nice quality fish, which I have done that over the years, I'm talking getting down in here close to shore, fishing, probably coming into this first, or really it's the second contour here off from the shore. But the water will be, 12, 13, 14 feet. And then typically, you'll be trolling with the wind because that wind's going to be ripping you. You'll be, making a trolling line to the north, or, if it's out of the southwest, northeast troll. But anyways, and as you move out here, you're going to start to deepen, and you get out to that third contour line where you start to get into a little softer bottom in that 20 foot. So my point is, those fish, not only hang in the typical spots everybody fishes, up here at the top, A, B, C can, D can, E can, F, G, H, and all that. I mean, there's a lot of fish in this spot, in this area, and you'll find pockets of these fish and big fish. A lot of the big females, and too, they're up in here. They're not just out here. So this is, again, saved me a number of trips. I've had some very, very, very good days. Why a lot of people are on shore and not getting out by fishing in this skinny water. Again, this time of year, if you're trolling, you're typically, going to be running your baits, 10, 12, 14 feet down, maybe 20 feet down. So, getting up into the skinny water, this 12 foot of water, your baits are still going to be off the bottom, most of them. If you're running a deeper one at 15 or 20, you might have to, reel it up a little bit on the start of the troll, but as you start to slide out on the troll into this deeper water, you can drop that lead back down to get it to around that 16, 18, 20 foot if you happen to be, running one at that depth. So anyways, I guess my point is you want to stay in this skinny water here. It's worth a check. Again, if you're coming from out of state and you don't want to be stuck on the shore and you want a chance to get out, trust me, there are good fish in here, and you can catch them. Especially if you want to troll. Now, if you don't want to troll, you can also get the jigs out. Jigs do very well, a jig and a minnow. I've done that over the years as well. Particularly if you find some fish relating to like a high spot. Sometimes you'll see 4 or 5 fish that will show up on the graph. There's more there that you can't necessarily see. But, if you get a hard bottom area, you look around that area, you can get a jig and minnow out and, catch you some nice fish that way as well. I know a lot of people like to troll, especially for the bigger fish. So, just keep that in mind next time you go. And, everything's muddy, the lake's ripping, you can't really get offshore. You can fish down in this little bowl. You can also go on the inside of the reefs here as well. And I'll do another video probably about that area. But you can do the same thing here as you move over toward the Davis-Bessie area and stay in tight to the reefs in that skinny water. Those fish get in there as well. And as a matter of fact, I love going up in there with the jig and minnow. And there's nothing like jigging those big girls out of the sand in there right offshore. That's fun as well. So anyways, no big secrets here, but just keep that in mind next time. It may end up, getting you a chance to get out in that water and get you some nice fish. And like I said, I've caught plenty of big fish, in that skinny water in that bowl. Okay. All right, man. Take care, guys. Good fishing. Fish on.